Let's discuss SSH user authentication protocol. The user authentication protocol provides the means by which the client is authenticated to the server. In this, a message type and format. First, we are going to discuss about the message types and formats. Three types of messages are always used in the user authentication protocol. The authentication request from the client have the format of SSH message authentication request, or SSH message authentication failure, or SSH message authentication success. These are the three types of messages which is going to be there in the user authentication protocol. Let us discuss one by one. When the username is the authentication identity, the client is coming. A service name is the facility to which the client is request access. Typically the SSH connection protocol, okay, and method name is the authentication method being used in this request. The first byte has decimal value of 50, which is interpreted as SSH message user authentication request. If the service either 1 rejects the authentication request or 2 accepts the request but requires one or more additional authentication methods, the server sends a message with the format as SSH message authentication failure. When the name itself or name list is a list of methods that may productively continue the dialogue. If the server accepts authentication, it sends a single byte message as SSH message user authentication success. The next we are going to discuss a message exchange. The message exchange involves some following steps. Let us see about one by one. The client sends an SSH message user authentication request if a request method of none. Second, the server checks to determine if the username is valid. If not, the server returns SSH message user authentication failure with the partial success value of false. If the username is valid, the server proceeds to the step 3. The step 3, the server returns SSH message user authentication failure with a list of one or more authentication methods to be get used. The fourth one, the client selects one of the acceptable authentication methods and sends an SSH message user authentication request with the method that the name or method name and the required method specified fields. At this point, there may be a sequence of exchanges to perform the method. The fifth one, if the authentication succeeds and more authentication methods are required, the server proceeds to step 3 using a partial success value of true. If authentication fails, the server proceeds to step 3 using a partial value or a success value as of false. When all required authentication methods succeeds, the server sends an SSH message user authentication success message and the authentication protocol is over. Such a way, the message exchange is going to be happen in 3 different ways as request, failure and success. Next, we will move on to the authentication methods. The server may require one or more the following authentication methods. The 3 methods are going to be present over there. The first one is going to be public key, second one password, third one host based. What actually the public key? The details of this method depends on the public key algorithm chosen. In essence, the client sends a message to the server that contains the client's public key with the message signed by the client's private key. When the server receives this message, it checks whether the supplied key is acceptable for authentication, and if so, it checks whether the signature is correct. Second one, password. The client sends a message containing a plain text password which is protected by the encryption by the transport layer protocol. Third one, host based. The host based authentication is performed on the client's host rather than the client itself. Thus, A host that supports multiple clients would provide authentication for all its clients. This method works by having the client sends a signature created with the private key of the client host. Uh, Thus, rather than directly verifying the user's identity, the SSH server verifies the identity of the client host and then believes the host when it says the user has already authenticated on the client side. Such a way, the authentication is going to be happen in the three different ways, as a public key authentication, or a password authentication, or host based authentication. Let's move on to the next connection protocol, SSH connection protocol. The SSH connection protocol runs on top of the transport layer protocol and assumes that a secure authentication connection is in use. That secure authentication connection, referred to as a tunnel, is used by the connection protocol to multiplex a number of logical channels. Next one, channel mechanism. All the type of communication using SSH, such as a terminal sessions, are supported using a separate channel. Either side may be an open channel. For each channel, each side associates a unique ID number, which needs not to be the same on both the ends. And channels are flow controlled using a window mechanism. For data may be sent to a channel unit, or a channel, until a message is received to indicate that window space is available. The life of the channel progress through three stages: opening a channel, data transfer, and closing a channel. We will see about this one by one. Channel mechanism: open a channel. When either side wishes to open a channel, it allocates a local number for the channel and then sends a message of the form, a byte which is going to be sent in a message of a form as SSH message channel open, which consisting of a string as channel type, and integer 32 as sender channel, and integer 32 bytes for initial window size, and integer 32 bytes for maximum packet size, and goes on until the channel type specifies a data flow, where the integer 32 means unsigned 32-bit integer. The channel type identifies the application of this channel as described. The sender channel is the local channel number. The initial window size specifies how many bytes of channel data can be sent to the sender of this message without adjusting the window. The maximum packet size specifies the maximum size of an individual data packet that can be sent to the sender. For example, one might want to use a smaller packet for interactive connection to get better interactive response on slow links. If the remote side is able to open the channel, it returns an SSH message channel open confirmation message, which includes the sender channel number, the receptant channel number, and window and packet size value for the incoming traffic. Otherwise, the remote side returns a SSH message channel open failure message with a reason code indicating the reason for failure. Once the confirmation is going to be there, it's going to make the confirmation, and once it's going to be get failure, it's going to give the message as failure. Let's see the next how it's going to be happen over there. The connection protocol exchange, which is going to be discussed with between a client and the server, just establishing an authenticated transport layer connection, and they're asking for the SSH message channel open. Once the channel is going to be opened over there, and the server is going to give the confirmation message to the client through the message SSH message channel open confirmation. If this connection is going to be failure, this confirmation message may be in terms of SSH message channel open failure. Let's see the data transfer, how it's going to get performed over there. Once the channel is open, data transfer is going to be performed using a message channel data message channel data. So from the client side, it's going to give a request as message SSH message channel data, and as per the request given over there, the server which provides the data transfer. So continuously the data transfer is going to be happen until the data which is going to be requested by the client is going to be satisfied by the server. If which includes, or once the channel is open, the data transfer performs using this SSH message channel data message, which includes the reception channel number and a block of data. This messages in both directions may continue as long as the channel is open. Once when either side of channels, client or the server, both wishes to close a channel, it sends a close message, SSH message channel close, which includes the reception channel number. So that what happens, the server end, the channel is going to be get closed, and it's going to disconnect from the server. The client is going to be disconnected from the server. Such a way, the SSH connection protocol exchange is going to be get happen in 3 ways: opening the channel, data transfer, and close a channel.